Hello and welcome to Uncut, live from our studio in Dubai. The audio and visual podcast show that gives you exclusive scoop on our guests and hot topics including some of your favorite celebrities. And now, let the fun begin. Here's your host, S1.
Yo, yo, yo. All right. Welcome to Uncut with S1. We are streaming live out of our Dubai studio. And you know what? This is one of the most awaited podcasts in the Middle East. And we are super proud to have one of the most awaited guests with us today in this show. And he is a young boxing legend. Badu Jack is with us here today with his amazing manager, Amer. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Welcome to the show. How are you, Amer?
Thank you. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making time out of your busy schedule. I know it's crazy for you right now because you guys have a lot of things coming up, and we are going to hear all about that right now. Amer, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
As a manager of, boxing, athlete, young, busy, how do you come up with all this? Like, what is your routine schedule like? What do you do?
I wish there was a routine schedule. You wake up, I'm usually up, for Fajr, and then on most days I just, do a little bit of reading, and then I hop right into my work. But anything after my work starts, you never know. You never know what you're getting yourself into. And especially, when you deal with an athlete like Badu, there's always so many demands, so many, deliverables, so many things that are out there, opportunities. So
right.
It always changes.
And I'm sure it's a challenge to find the right opportunities. And,
of course.
It's also because you get so much, and it's just like at some point you just have to filter and see what's right for Badu and what's right for the brand as well, right?
Of course. And, I'm almost like the filter. So, me and my team, we'll get we'll receive all of the requests, all of the opportunities, and we'll filter it out. And, usually when you shake it all out and it really comes to fruition where, all right, listen, this is something that's feasible, something that we can do.
Right.
And by the time that all filters down, it's a very small percentage. And it's something obviously that's in line with what Badu wants to do. I'll present it to him and I'll say, champ, this is what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'll decide what he wants to do. I mean, regardless of, I always say this is like a presidency. I might be, the secretary general or the defense minister, but at the end, he's the president. He makes all the decisions, and we just have to present it to him.
It's the final word comes from him, of course. But I mean, there's so much that you have to prep before, bringing something in, and that's a challenge for you too, right, Badu? Like, how do you feel like when all these come into your hands and you're like, okay, what do we do? Yes, no. How do you feel about that?
No, I always ask him for good advice, and we think alike, so
okay,
most of the time it's not a problem.
And when you guys say you think alike, is this something, have you guys been together for a while? Is that like, did you guys learn each other's habits, or is this something you guys adapted to?
When you say,
or is it natural?
When we look back at that, I mean, Badu and I have been friends for quite some time. Business, we've been doing business for not that long, for a couple of years now. But when our thinking comes from the same base, and now we're both, proud believers of Islam and followers of Islam. So sometimes, we'll have this. I'll tell you, man. We're on the S1 show, man. We're gonna talk candidly here, right?
Yes.
So, but when Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor, Badu was the featured fight on that card,
right?
When he fought Nathan Cleverly for the WBA title. So we had a lot of sponsorship requests on that.
Right.
Some of them were not aligned with our Islamic values, and they were lucrative
big
offers.
Numbers, like crazy
numbers.
So you're talking brands like alcohol, is that something? Or
there was alcohol, there was I don't know how much but it was like a dating service.
Oh, okay.
And with me, I have my opinion, right? But like I said, ultimately it'll be Badu's decision. So I'll shake it down, and if the offer is real, I'll say, listen, Badu, this is the offer on the table.
Right.
And he'll say, what do you think? Islamically, what do you think? That's always his first question is, Islamically, is this permissible? And I'll say, no, it's not. I'll say
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Do you live here now, Badu, or how's it? Like, I know you're back and forth quite a bit. I was gonna say welcome to Dubai, but then I'm like, nah. This is a second home, right?
This is home now.
This is home now.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. You see,
Yeah.
I love this because I love seeing people like yourself, you know, huge international stars and in their different fields come to Dubai and really feel like Dubai could be a home for them, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I've been here for like 5-6 times the last year and a half, maybe. So,
Wow.
and for like a month at a time. So,
What made you feel like this is home? Like what made you feel like I want to come here? Is it the religion? Is it the openness of being able to have a modern country at the same time an Islamic culture?
yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Yeah, first of all, it's a Muslim country and it's safe,
Right.
you know, for my kids and everything. But also, it's a beautiful country. It's a lot of opportunities. It's
100%.
yeah, I mean, it's a luxury. You can eat whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Like
You got
whatever you
everything.
want. Whatever I have in Las Vegas, for example, I have here,
Right.
but more.
So you're not missing anything.
No.
100%. How do you feel, Amer? Like,
I love Dubai. I love Dubai. I love the Middle East. You know, I'm Palestinian. My parents and my family live in Jordan.
Okay.
Even though I was born and raised in the United States. But you know, when I first came here, I said, "Man, this is beautiful." But you know, I'm not a guy that moves fast in terms of that. I plan a lot before I make my move.
okay.
And when we make our move, it's swift. Badu said, "I'm moving." I go, "Champ, look, why don't we calm down a little bit?" You know, no, seriously.
Let's think twice.
Yeah. I said, listen, why don't we? He's like, there is no thinking about this. I am moving. I'm going back to Las Vegas. I'm packing up and I'm coming here. I said, all right, give me a year. He's like, a year. He goes, you got 3 months to make it happen.
Oh my
No,
god.
and that was really the time frame I had, really to plan everything and make sure everything worked in sync. And you know, alhamdulillah, we were able to make it. And now he's here.
And before that, you were in Vegas.
Yep, for 8 years, I think.
How was that? Like, is there a culture shock? Because Vegas is like the complete, it's crazy, you know? You can't really compare Vegas to Dubai. But there is the entertainment side of it, but then there's also like Vegas in general is
Vegas in general,
Sin
like
City.
as a
No.
as
change it.
as a
Sin
family
City.
city. No, it's quiet. Like where I live, it's a great family neighborhood. You know, I never go to Las Vegas Strip with all the casinos and stuff unless it's a big fight.
Okay.
So I don't see much about that anymore.
So you are away from
Yeah,
some
Man,
of the Vegas.
anywhere you go in the world, if you want to find awful, you find awful.
Right.
Las Vegas has a lot more there, right?
Right.
Anywhere you go, if you're not disciplined and you don't live the right way, you can get lost.
That's true.
Right? You
It
got a
could be
gambling
wherever.
problem, don't go to Las Vegas. You got
Yeah.
a drinking problem, don't go to Las Vegas. There's bars and there's everything all the way around. But
It's
just
you at the
discipline
end
your
of the
life.
day,
At
right?
the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, man. It's just where you're dropped.
100%. You have kids. You mentioned you have kids. How many?
I got 2. I got one daughter that's 3 and one son that's 1.
Oh, wow. So they're not that far apart, right?
No.
And do they play with each other? Are they like best friends or
Yeah, kind of.
gets challenging?
Yeah, and they got a lot of energy. It's like having 2 kids is like having 3, and my kids are crazy.
All right.
So it's like having 4 kids.
Are they mini athletes? Are they mini Badu Jacks?
I think so. My son started fighting, punching stuff already. So.
Oh,
probably.
wow. Do you have kids, Amer?
I do. Alhamdulillah, I have 2 beautiful daughters, Alia, who's 4 years old, and or she's 3. She's 4. And
Okay.
Aisha, who's a year and a half, and we have one more on the way, inshallah.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
How did you two meet? How did this happen? Like,
It was actually we before I retired. I was training at the Mayweather Boxing Club, and he was training at the Mayweather Boxing Club in Las Vegas. And we were training during the same times, and we would run into each other. And then I knew who he was as a Muslim beforehand. I was a fan of Badu Jack.
wow.
But he was coming up. When I realized he was Muslim, I said, "Man, that's amazing that we have a guy at that caliber." And again, man, this is uncut. We're gonna talk realistically. I
Yes.
always look, whether I'm a good Muslim or not, I don't know, but I always look for somebody to represent us in the right light. So
Right.
when you have some of these, knuckleheads that do things and give Islam a bad name. It's not the guy that people talk about that say, "Oh, he's crazy" or something. They say the entire
religion.
The entire 1.8 billion Muslims. We all go on trial.
That's true.
With this guy, right? But if it's a different guy, if it's a Caucasian or realistically, a Roman Catholic, a Protestant, whatever it may be, they say, man, he's got mental issues. What a crazy guy. What a radical guy, right?
Right.
So we need a hero. We need somebody in that light that can give us that hope that, we were with Prince Nassim the other day, and I said to him, I go, brother, go on social media. You are a hero. You're who we want to represent us. So, and he is such a humble guy. He's very involved, alhamdulillah, with, religion and whatnot. But I know it's hard to say Prince Nassim's a humble guy, but he is. He really is.
I was just thinking, I was like.
No, listen, again, we'll talk about him later. But going back to Badu. So I said, man, this is a guy that really can make us proud as a nation. I don't have to worry. So, when I retired, I had, other business interests in boxing, kickboxing, and I had a promotions company, a management company. And alhamdulillah, I had done that from previously. And then Badu said, we'd love to have you join the team. And I came along as the business manager. And I said, listen, if we're going to start, we start in the Middle East.
Right.
We need you to start where you're somebody huge for us.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, as soon as he landed here, I can't tell you the phone calls that we've got. Listen, last week, 2 weeks ago, we wanted shirts made.
Okay.
Well, I swear to you, I Googled, nobody recommended it.
Yeah.
I Googled somebody here locally.
To make the shirt.
Right. So he's like, all right, send me the logo. Yeah, these shirts.
Where's mine, by the way?
You come on the way. Did you leave it in the car? Damn, I told you to bring it in. We actually have a new batch coming. I'll make sure I get to it.
Okay.
So the brother says, send me the logo. And I did. He goes, that's Badu Jack? He goes, they're on the house.
Oh,
I never met the guy before, nothing. He goes, just send the champ our salam and we'll take care of it for you. I said to him, I go, man, this is where you need to be.
And I think it's very important that not only do you need someone with the platform to be able to speak up, right? Because a lot of people are amazing and they represent good things, but they don't have the platform and no one really sees it or, hears it. So you need someone
100%.
like Badu who has a platform, who has the power, the international global presence to come and represent us the right way.
No, it's true. And not just a platform, right? So you have a lot of, what do they call them today? Influencers.
Right.
And they have millions of followers. And this is nothing against any of them. But, there's nothing substantial that you bank on and you hold on. This guy is a legitimate 2-division world champion elite athlete under the biggest promotions name in the world, Mayweather Promotions, from Las Vegas, fighting. He's the only fighter in boxing who have fought 7 world champions back to back to back.
Wow.
This is a guy who's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, and he's Muslim, and he's one of us. Like his social media following, and he's very humble on social media.
Right.
It should be 10 times where it is. And I'm just like, man, get yourself out there.
Right.
Put yourself out there, not so much for you, for the people that follow you, for the people that need you.
Right.
For us.
Because I think a lot of people do look up to you and depend on you, Badu. And is there a reason you hold back?
I don't really hold back. I'm just being myself.
Yeah. Do you think that is it, because I know you're very humble and I've heard it from a million people. We met a couple of times before at events, but being humble also kind of means you shy away from certain things because you don't want to show, right? Do you feel like you face that a lot? Do you at times say, you know what, I don't want to do this on social media because, I don't want to show it?
No, not really.
No?
I mean, sometimes you got to think about what you say and stuff like that, but not, not really.
Okay. Yeah. And Amer, why do you think is the social media followings lower than?
Look, people love, and this is just us in society, right? Society is fixated on failure, on controversy. Nobody reports an airplane landing safely. That's not really news to us. We want to hear the Kardashian story.
Yeah.
We want to hear who broke up with who and who did this. And, Badu's lifestyle, I don't have to worry about a phone call at 1 a.m. saying Badu got in an altercation. Badu's at the club. Badu, is driving under the intoxication. I don't have to worry about that with him. He doesn't live
Badu.
that lifestyle. And that's why I think that his presence is so big to me as a Muslim. This is a guy who's done it. He's there. He got it. He did almost the impossible
Right.
of achieving this huge accomplishment. But there's no, like when you follow Badu around in your day-to-day life, you'll go to sleep because the guy wakes up, he plays with his kids, he prays. I mean, there's nothing like amazing about it. So that's why, I tell him, champ,
unless it's fight week.
Right. Fight. Yeah. No, when it's training camp, that's fun.
Yeah.
But even that, he's very disciplined in his training.
I mean, it is amazing in his own way. Like it might not be the social media amazing, right? It might not be very social media attractive content in terms of playing with his kids.
Right.
But it is amazing in its own way.
It is. And that's, and I've never seen him take a selfie, right? Like when you go on some of these Instagram posts and all of these things, and
that's
Snapchat, and he's like, man,
that's for women.
That's for women. All right, you heard it here. What are we to expect from this fight? Because let's talk about the fight. There's Badou Jack Promotions, which you're signed to Mayweather Promotions. Yep. And you've opened your own promotion company called Badou Jack Promotions.
Correct.
Which is based off Dubai. Where is it based?
Yeah, it's based here in the UAE. So.
Okay. And you have a fight coming up.
Yeah, not me, but I'm promoting a show. So the first one is on May 3rd, next Friday.
Okay.
At the FIVE Palm Jumeirah.
Yes.
And it's gonna be huge.
That's exciting. I'm going to be there. And I also heard a lot of other people are going to be there. Can we name drop some people?
Name them all.
Who's coming?
Of course, we've got Badu Jack will be there, obviously, as this is promotion. KSI is coming. Because KSI's trainer, Vidal Riley, is fighting in the main event.
Yes, I heard. And that's against a local...
Mo Ali.
Mo Ali.
Yep.
Yes, I know him. That's my brother.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Mo's got 12 wins, 12 knockouts, only one loss. He just won, a big tournament a couple of weeks ago, and we're expecting a good fight. It'll be fireworks. It's a big test for Vidal. Wow. And then of course we've got you coming. We've got to the fight. We've got a unified world champion Amer Khan, who just fought last weekend. Also, he's coming.
That's amazing.
There are some people that are coming that they don't want us to announce their names, but
yes,
there are some pretty big guys there. And then of course Mo Vlogs will be there. Adam Nasheed, Ibrahim Basha, a whole bunch of guys will be there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be the biggest fight ever to be hosted
this
in
is
the
the
UAE,
place
right?
to be. Friday is the place to be is FIVE Palm Jumeirah at the Badu Jack Promotions Knockout Night.
Right before Ramadan.
Right before Ramadan. That's another thing. Like, how many of these fights are you planning? Are you planning to keep on, have this thing be repetitive, do a lot of events, or is this like a once a year event?
No. This is just an introduction.
Okay.
We got to take over Dubai.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it. I'm sure you guys are the quiet, the quiet beasts. You guys come out of the dark and just take over everything, right? Alhamdulillah.
We have a great system. We have some great supporters here. Like, Round 10 Boxing, TK MMA, Tam Khan, Ahmed Siddiqui, those guys who have been here, who have built boxing from the ground up, those guys are great supporters of ours. And it takes a community to build boxing, right?
I agree.
And it's so new still into this area. So people are a little bit, what is boxing? Actually, it's crazy. And I said it in the last interview we did. We had a big sponsor come in and he said, is there any MMA involved? And we said, no, it's just boxing. He goes, no, we want to sponsor MMA. Boxing is too barbaric. I was like, what?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to talk about this because I'm a boxing fan. I've honestly, before anything, I've only watched boxing because my uncles were boxers, and I have to say, like, what do you think of UFC in the Middle East? Because I feel like UFC has been pushed more. And MMA and in general, like other, categories, but boxing not as much. Why is that?
No, it's not. Remember, especially in Dubai, the country is so new, right? We're talking about 30, 35, 40 years where the whole country has been based off of. MMA is relatively very new as well. When you talk about the Queensberry boxing rule, they go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Where in the United States, the UK, where boxing has evolved and really is a mainstream sport, that is our go-to combat sport.
Right.
MMA is looked at as new. Here, the number one sport, with jiu-jitsu being a national sport and where a lot of, the royal families practice and everything, even in, all throughout the Middle East, the first sport that a combative sport from Brazilian jiu-jitsu or any kind of jiu-jitsu is MMA. So that's what they know. That's what they grasp onto. That's why MMA promotions are, a dime a dozen here. MMA shows are a dime a dozen here. And listen, the UFC has done a phenomenal job building their company in such a short time. Dana White has, I respect him, and I'm not a fan of MMA. I just don't like the sport. I'm a fan of Dana White. I think he's done a phenomenal job. And how can you not respect a man that's built
of course an empire? But I mean, boxing is, again, I feel like a lot of these other categories, I'll call them categories for now, just for the sake of it, have been created because of boxing, like like thanks to boxing, because they're all inspired.
They took our names, all the weight classes, welterweight, heavyweight, but there's not even the same weight classes. They just took the name.
And it's just for the brand, right? I feel like boxing has built this huge, brand of titles and names and, even the ring, and stuff like that people just come and...
Well, boxing, remember, even everyday things that we say, when we say something, hey, man, hang in there. That's a boxing term. Yeah. Oh, man, she's a knockout. That's a boxing term.
Yeah.
There's so many things every day that boxing has created. Listen, remember, when the first UFC came out, there were no rounds. It was one, keep going until you can't go anymore.
Until it's done.
And then what they did, they took the boxing part of it out and said, okay, we need to have X amount of minutes, X amount of rounds, weight classes. People have, again, MMA is exciting. For those that like it, I'm not knocking the sport.
Right.
What I'm saying is boxing is the pure breed combative sport that the whole world recognizes. And what we have to do, and if it's new here, we don't just sit and point and blame and say, oh, no, it should be. No, let's build it.
Educate people.
Yeah. And you've done kickboxing, right?
I have, yeah.
He's a kickboxing world champion.
A kickboxing world champion. There we go. So I have a question for Badu, actually, because how do you feel like a lot of people might say, okay, look, boxing just involves hands. Kickboxing, for example, there's more work into it. There's more, it's more challenging. How do you feel like as a boxer? How do you compare the two?
You can't really compare. It's two different sports. All I can compare is the bank account.
And what a difference that is.
And that's a big difference, right? The paycheck in boxing is still one of the highest, right?
The highest. Not even close.
Okay,
my promoter, Floyd Mayweather, is the highest paid athlete, not just in combat sport, in any sport.
That's crazy.
The last 3-4 years or whatever.
I was just with him the last time he came, and it's just unbelievable. Like, looking at him as well, and he is a living legend, right?
He is.
A lot of people have the debate of who's the number one boxer of all times, but statistically, he is.
Well, and again, there's so many different ways to gauge the greatest of our time, or like he calls it, TBE, the best ever. For me, I gauge it not just in the ring, but the personality himself, the what he's done outside of the ring. Right. And to me, Muhammad Ali is obviously the number one guy. What he stood for, who he is, and maybe me because I'm biased because he is Muslim.
Yeah.
That's my number one. But you can't take away from the fact that Floyd fought every big name and convincingly dominated and made the most money and the biggest pay-per-views. You can't.
We broke
even
all the
if you
records.
hate the guy,
all the records.
Even if you dislike him, detest him, loathe him, he still set every record possible.
He's still number one. Hate him or love him, he's still number one. Do either of your kids look up to you and say, I want to be like daddy. I want to start boxing. I want to start kickboxing. Is that something that's happening right now? And how do you is that something you want your kids to do?
Not really my kids, to be honest. My daughter, obviously not. But my son, I'm going to teach him. Actually, I'm going to teach both of them how to fight, how to defend themselves.
Okay.
Because they can have a dad that's a world champion and they don't even know how to fight. No.
I'm more for in my behalf, Prophet Muhammad said that one of the things that you should know how to do is defend yourself. And at that time, it was bow and arrow, and learn how to do that. And it was more of a self-defense. So my daughter's in karate. Ali, the oldest one, she practices on the little one, which is good. But no, they'll learn how to defend themselves. If I ever had a son, if Allah ever blessed me with a son, I would never, ever, ever let him get into competitive fighting.
Really?
No way.
And why is that?
Oh, champ.
Yeah, it's we risk our lives. My last fight, I got headbutted open cut in my whole
I can see
forehead.
the scar, right?
Yeah,
you have the
little
scar. It's right there.
Yeah, and then, the business, everything, all the hard work, being on a diet, losing 30 pounds or 10 kilos or whatever. I mean,
the
it's too
lifestyle.
tough.
It's a different lifestyle. I said to myself, while I was competing, I will never, ever get married and have kids while I compete, because during training camp, and especially during fight week, or even, the 2 weeks before that, and Badu will attest to this, you become a different person. You become like not even human. You're preparing your body as a machine to go in and dismantle, destroy, and just ruin another man.
Right.
So it's not a very healthy atmosphere for
It's
anybody
not fair,
to live in.
right? I wouldn't think it's fair for your partner.
Badu's wife, my wife, during training camps are tough. They're just tough to cohabitate with us with any fighter. But going back to if my son or even my daughter competing, no man, the business part of it is so dirty. I mean, you are a commodity in the sport, which is why early in my career I became my own promoter.
And do you feel like when you talk about the wives, do they struggle with this? Is it something where they come and say, you know what, Badu, I want you to stop? Or when are you thinking of going into something else, just focus on Badou Jack Promotions instead?
No, I mean, she supports me. So whatever I want to do, she support. But of course, she's nervous and stuff, before the fights. But no, it's not an issue. But yeah, I'm gonna be 36 in October, so I got a few years left. But not, I'm not gonna fight forever.
Forever. And you're still gonna fight though, right? You still have?
We've got some good, exciting things lined up for Badu by the end of the year, inshallah.
Okay, that's amazing. We're looking forward to those. How does it? Do your children go to the fights? Do they watch the fights?
Yeah, my daughter been to 2 fights.
Okay,
yeah.
and
the last fight when I was cut, bleeding and everything,
God.
she's like, "Yeah, I want to come up and play with Daddy."
No.
She didn't really understand it, so.
But I think, was she shocked at all, or she was just like,
nah, she didn't
really
understand
comprehend
that.
it.
Yeah, she was too young, I think, right?
I mean, she's 3 years old. She understands a little bit, but yeah, she's always been in the boxing gym. Actually, when we came from the hospital when she was born,
Right.
we stopped at a boxing gym before we went home. I had to pick something up.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. And did they ever come watch you, Amer?
I did. I had Adia watch me in my last 3 fights. When I won the world title, when I defended it, the fight before that, and my retirement.
How was her reaction? Like, is that
She's too young.
too young, right?
Nah, she's too young. She doesn't really understand. And now when she looks at it, she looks at herself. It's like, oh, I was at a fight. Now at this age, 4, 5, 6 is when they really start comprehending things. But no, I think she was just having fun, just cheering me on, just because everybody else was.
Watching a boxing match is super intense, obviously. The amount of focus that a boxer needs, the entire time you're so, tense, focused, driven for one goal, that's to win. What advice do you have, Badu, for young athletes or people who want to become boxers? Like, how do you get in your zone?
Pick another sport. No. If you really want to do it, it's not a game. It's not easy. You gotta, put 100% into boxing if that's what you want to do, and there's no guarantee that you're gonna make it. It's really hard. You just gotta train. Like the whole lifestyle got to be boxing. You got to train, eat, sleep boxing, and you got to have a lot of heart, a lot of discipline, have patience, and obviously you got to have some skills too.
Right. Because don't forget, when you say pick another sport, you inspire a lot of people to become boxers.
Yeah.
So when a young athlete or someone looks up and says, Badu's there, and they hear this right now, they're going to be like, why is he telling us to go, Yeah.
No, I was joking. No, but like I come from a small country. I come from Sweden. Boxing is not big at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I can make it, anyone can make it.
That's the funny thing is that a lot of people will look at you and be like, I think some luck is involved in everything, but I mean, they will probably say, you know what, he just got lucky, or he probably went to Vegas and I don't know, met Floyd somehow. How did that actually because I know behind every success story, there is at least, the 10 years rules of hard work.
Badu's going to give you the humble version of it. I'll tell you the real story. Okay? He left everything. He was living. I mean, thank God he had a great life in Sweden. He was an amateur star there, a national star there, an Olympian, and he went to the United States to follow a dream. So he left everything, and when he went there, he didn't land on immediate high ground. He had some friends there. Shannon Briggs first discovered him, if you know the legendary Shannon Briggs, and he had him under his wing. But, there was not any big money there. People think, you come to the United States and all of a sudden you get paid, millions of dollars. It's not the case. He got picked up by, a manager, and the manager took, about a third of everything that he made. And Badu said, I want to go to Las Vegas where I want to make it. He didn't live in a house. He lived in, I'll be honest, it was like a rundown motel. I know Badu doesn't like me saying this, but there's cockroaches all over the place.
Yeah.
I call it the Roach Motel. It's
wow.
But he did that, and he gave up that why to pursue his dream. And he said, I want to just prove who I am. He had that kind of belief in himself. And Badu, this story, I like to say it because it's one of the things that I admire about him.
It's inspiring, and
of course, and
that goes back to him being humble. Like he couldn't care less. He was driven, right, and had a goal, and nothing else mattered.
And he listen. He trained and he fought and he built his record up. An undefeated fighter, and he started getting noticed and recognized. But listen, he wasn't making a lot of money per fight. He was making a few $1,000s here and there, and that wasn't even enough to last him for a month or two of groceries and food and living and keeping up with living conditions. And then there was an opportunity one time. They said they were looking for a sparring partner, and it was going to be at the Mayweather gym. And he went and sparred one of the biggest names in the sport. Obviously, we're not going to name him. And Floyd happened to be there, and Badu not just looked great. I mean, he knocked the guy out cold.
Wow.
And they said, "Man, who is this kid?" And the rest is history. Floyd picked him up right away. He said, "Whatever your situation is, I want you."
That's incredible. Yeah. How was that feeling, that moment where you got that message? Were you a fan of Floyd at all before?
Of course. If you're in boxing, if you're not a fan of Floyd, you don't really know the sport. But yeah, so this was, 2011, 2012. So, yeah, he really liked me. Him and 50 Cent was best friends there. So they was there, the HBO All Access, or what you call it? 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
They was there filming. So it was a huge thing back then. And yeah, a few months later, I went back to Sweden, and he was, had some time off. And then when I came back to the States, that's when he told me, "Yo, how can I sign you? I want you to be a part of Mayweather Promotions."
Oh, wow.
So you just got to get out of my contract. And he said, "I'll buy you out Monday." Boom. And after that, yeah, it's been great. But yeah, it hasn't been easy,
It only gets harder, I assume, because now you're taking it to the next level each time,
Of course. And when you have a guy like Floyd behind you, you become a target. Everybody wants your spot. I mean, there's a handful of guys that you can count on, two hands that are, signed and premier fighters out of Mayweather Promotions. Everybody wants their spot, so they want to dethrone them. And then you add the fact that he's got, he's a 2-division world champion. He's a target. Everybody wants him.
Of course. And everyone wants your spot, like you were saying. Is there something that you really, really struggled with in the beginning of your career? Like, what was the most challenging part?
I mean, obviously the training and all the fights is very hard. But my biggest problem was that I had a manager that took advantage of me. That the way I was living, wasn't making no money or nothing. So that was probably the hardest part.
And do you think it was? Do you blame yourself? Did you not see that? What is the biggest?
I mean, you gotta watch out for people. As far as contracting, you gotta be careful what you sign.
Right.
So,
but it's but you want to go somewhere, so he took a risk.
Yeah, I wanted to fight, so I didn't really think about. I didn't have no money for lawyers that could look
exactly.
And stuff.
And I always say boxing is an individual performance, but it's a team effort. You have to have a business manager, you have to have a trainer, you have to have a promoter. Badu surrounded himself with some great people. His brother-in-law Arjan's around him all the time. Like, it's his home team that you have people that you can rely on for these things.
And you can't do everything, right? I mean, you as a boxer, as an athlete, you have to focus on one thing, and that's being good in the ring, winning that fight, staying undefeated. So there has to be a team. There has to be a team. You can't, and everything. No. It's not just in boxing. Right. I mean, in everything. In general life, it's a team. Everything is a partnership.
Your marriage, your family, everything is a team.
I agree. Badu, you're mixed, right? You come from mixed parents. Your mom is Swedish.
Yep.
And your father is from?
Gambia.
And did you grow up in Sweden?
Yeah, I grew up in Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm. And you were born there too, so.
Yep.
Okay. And how old were you when you moved to the States?
So it's probably like 25, 26.
25, 26.
Yeah, it's about 2010, 2011.
How was it when you, like, growing up in Sweden and boxing was your passion? Like, you said there was not much of that happening in Sweden.
Well, not really professional boxing, but amateur boxing. So, I've been all over the world fighting. I had 150 amateur fights before I turned pro.
Okay.
So after the 2008 Olympics.
Wow.
So I had a few fights in Sweden, 3-4 fights, I think. And then, Shannon Briggs, a former heavyweight champion, discovered me. So, yeah, that's when I moved to the States. And
then...
Yeah, we got... involved with Mayweather Promotion, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Who was your inspiration? Who inspired Badu Jack?
I mean, Muhammad Ali, of course.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, but as far as just boxing, Muhammad Ali, that was before my time when he was fighting. Of course, I watched his fight, but Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. were probably my two biggest inspirations.
Did you ever watch one? Live? From Mike Tyson's, or
no?
It was still...
No. His last fight was 2004, 2005. I think.
Didn't make it. You've met him though several times, right?
Yeah.
You guys are friends, or?
Yeah, I mean, we know him pretty well. He walked me out to the ring, my first TV fight. In 2012. So yeah, we know him. Both of us know him.
And does he believe in you? Obviously, if he's walking you out to the ring, he believes in Badu Jack and in your career, right? Is that?
Yeah, definitely. It was an old school fighter back in the '60s called Badu Jack. So he always called me Badu Jack. So he liked me since the first time he met me. He always been cool. So
that's awesome.
Definitely.
Amer, what do you think is the most challenging part of managing a boxer and an athlete? Because again, is it getting the fights? Is that the most challenging, or is it getting sponsors? What is the biggest challenge that you face?
No, I mean, so I have a couple of different, and alhamdulillah, I'm in a position where I can pick and choose who I want to work with. I get requests left, right, and center every single day, but I choose who I want to work with. So if I put it into contrast here, Badu Jack, very established 2-division world champion, towards, the later part of his career. A guy like Vidal Riley made his pro debut. That's KSI's trainer,
right,
that I manage also. Two fighters, two entirely different places in their careers. But the burden of responsibility is the most challenging thing for me. So when I make a decision for Badu, it's not a decision even for me. It's his career.
Right.
So like, whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, I have such a strong connection with his family that unfortunately it kills me, because like when I make a decision, I'm thinking about, what about his daughter Melania, his son Malik? How could this affect them? How about his wife Yasmin? How about this? I have all of these responsibilities and these burdens.
Yeah.
And it's massive. And that takes the most toll. Listen, what sponsor to get? I can pick up the phone and call 10 people and get 10 sponsorships. That's not a problem. And even the fights, there's so many fights that we chose. It's the responsibility of making the right decisions for his career after boxing. What's going to happen in 5-10 years from now when Badu Jack is retired? Will Amer have made the decisions, or have presented him or afforded him the opportunities to live a comfortable lifestyle outside of boxing? And if the answer is no, not just I suffer, but his entire family suffers. And he relies on me for these
Of
decisions.
course.
So since we've been working, we started Ripper Nutrition. It's his nutrition company. Inshallah, we're going to bring it to the United Arab Emirates soon.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we called it Nutrition with a Purpose, and I'll get to that.
Okay.
We started the Badou Jack Promotions, boxing with a purpose. The purpose is the foundation that we started, which is the Badu Jack Foundation. So what he wanted to do first was help all of these refugee children. That's where his heart is, these Syrian, Palestinian refugees. And we're starting in Jordan.
I heard a lot about the foundation, and I know you do a lot of giving back to the community, and that's something that Badu Jack, the brand in general, stands for, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's all about giving kids all around the world a fighting chance in life.
That's amazing. And one of these activations has to do with the nutrition, right?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we actually we're creating the first self-sustaining program, and we're just in the crowdfunding phases now of just launching it. But once it's off the ground, it's self-sustaining, so we don't have to always, ask for donations coming in. Of course, we always take them. And it's 100% going back into the program. So the Badu Jack Foundation is teamed up with a company called Reach for Life. We're going to be selling nutrition bars in the United States, because that's where our biggest market is.
Right.
Every bar that's sold there, one child will receive a meal nutrition shake in these camps. So when we looked at the biggest dilemma and the biggest problem that they have in these camps, it's nourishment. 3 out of 5 kids have severe malnourishment. They don't develop properly, lack of micronutrients, macronutrients, which affects them later in life. So we said, instead of, and sometimes, and I'm almost remiss to say this and embarrassed, but when you give money to people, sometimes it goes missing, and sometimes it's allocated to the wrong things. And by the time the end person gets it, it's, a fraction of a percentage of where it should be. Where we're 100, we control it all. So it's 100% goes back into it. There's zero profit on this thing. Every bar that's sold, one of these children are getting a meal replacement shake per day. We are estimating by the end of 2020, inshallah, we will be able to feed roughly 50 to 60,000 kids a day.
Wow. A day.
Yeah. No, it's going to be massive.
This is amazing.
And it starts with this Ramadan, inshallah. We're starting our campaign to start.
Well, good luck with everything. I'm super excited for that. The foundation, it's just incredible. You do so many different things. What else do you guys have? You have Ripper Nutrition, and is there anything else coming up, or is that?
Yeah, so Ripper Nutrition, we actually teamed up with a company called Lockhart & Leith. They're the leading nutritionists and scientists almost in the nutrition world, supplement world, dieting world for athletes. 40%, 50% of the UFC athletes use them. They're Connor's nutritionists. So they've worked with everybody. Daniel Cormier, everybody. So they're developing a line of supplements underneath Ripper Nutrition that'll be specifically for athletes.
So it's several products, right? It's not just
we have
one.
5 new products coming out under Ripper Nutrition. So as far as the Ripper team, we've got the Ripper team working right now, and we're working right now on international distribution. We launched just last April, and it's just been taking off. We're already in China. We've got a huge deal out there in China, and what we actually did is by the end of the year, we kind of stopped and paused and rebranded because it was going in a different direction.
Oh.
So we just rebranded the whole company now, and inshallah, we're picking that back up. And what a lot of our focus is in now is the foundation, because, Badu's got such a high demand for this thing, and he just wants to get it off the ground. So the foundation, of course, giving children across the globe a fighting chance in life. And of course, Ripper Nutrition has a big hand in that, and the distribution and marketing of the protein bars.
Speaking about Ripper, Jack the Ripper, where did this name come about and how?
My last name is Jack, and it was a trainer in my gym back in the days when I just started boxing that was, joking with me and calling me Jack the Ripper. And then when I turned pro,
you kept that.
Yeah, I kept that.
That's a cool name. I think it's a very powerful name, because it kind of puts a lot of pressure on on the opponent. Jack the Ripper is in the building.
Right.
Is there something that because speaking about helping out and I know you guys also do stuff, and you did something, I think, in Syria with the refugees.
Yeah, it's actually in Jordan. It was a Syrian refugee camp, a Zatari camp.
Okay.
Badu was a guest of His Highness Prince Ali, who's the brother of King Abdullah, and he invited him down there, and he worked, with they have an Asian Football Development League project, helping the kids in the refugee camp with soccer and things like that. And Badu went down there, but Badu said it yesterday in an interview. When you see the refugees and you see their living conditions on YouTube, on TV, it's one thing. But when you walk the camp, when you enter their houses, when you sit on their quote unquote couches,
Right.
you have a whole different sense of appreciation, man. You just sit back and you're like, damn.
Because you're living it, right? Like in that moment, you're
Exactly.
living it, and it's so different than just seeing something.
Brother, I'm telling you, how were the walls in there? And
Aluminum walls like this thin.
it
Like,
gets
Oh
cold.
my
Like, it
God.
snows.
It's in
It
a
snows.
desert.
People die. People die in the winter because they get so cold.
They freeze to death.
It's awful. It's awful. Or the house, if you even call it a house, will burn down because they're heated by these portable heaters, propane heaters, and
Oh,
it's
God.
just awful. I mean, it's deplorable. To say their living conditions are deplorable would be actually a compliment to how these people live. So the absolute least that we can do is at least give them nourishment.
Right.
So the other thing, that's our big project, right? The big go-to mission, what we call it, for the Badu Jack Foundation is the meal shakes for these kids. But Badu also went to a Baqa refugee camp, which is primarily a Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan, and he opened up an education center. So he's personally taking care of 15, not just refugees, but orphans who are refugees. So if they lost their
Okay.
fathers or their mothers.
That's amazing.
And he's overlooking, their development in terms of education, sports, and other extracurricular activities as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Badu, you said something once that stuck to me. You said you wanted to be the people's champion and help the poor. Is that, I mean, you are the people's champion and you are helping the poor. Do you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted and what your goals are, or is there more to what you want to do?
No, this is just the beginning.
This is just
This
the
is just
beginning.
Like you said, all about the foundation. We're gonna be one of the biggest foundations in the world. That's our plan, and help as many kids as possible, and make it a global thing.
And do you feel like you have the support of like, I don't know if it's governments or like, what is it that you need more support from? Where do you seek like you could
at this stage? No, that's a great question. At this stage, we're in the crowdfunding stage to get the program off the ground, and more than the financial part of what we want, we need volunteers. We need help to kind of put the whole team together so that we can start this mission. And inshallah, we feel very confident about Ramadan and how we're going to get this going. But no, everybody's been very receptive. Like, everybody sit down, says, whatever you guys need, we're in. Anything that you need from us, we're in. So I think it's very good. But remember, people also have, I don't want to say a stereotype, but they also have that, reservation about where's the money going. Like, the big GoFundMe
Just
account
'cause,
was that happened in the States. The poor guy that gave his last $20 away for gas and ended up being a scam, and they made $400,000. People are afraid. It's their hard-earned money.
Yeah, it's
These
just
people have-
unfortunately the past has there's so much fraud, especially
It's awful.
outside, I would say, outside the Middle East. I mean, even in the Middle East, probably happen in certain areas, but I think the UAE in particular is really good with that because they have, certain regulations and double, checks where they go through, the government checks it. There's private companies that check it. You can't just open a foundation here based off, I want to open a foundation, right? Like, it has to be monitored by the government, which
Right.
is
And we actually explored that here. I think it was called the Red Crescent or something like that, and they said no, it's only government operations. But you never
Right.
know. You never know how things develop and how things progress. But we're very confident in what we're doing. And listen, more importantly, it's not even about that. It's about helping these kids.
100%. May 3rd. Let's go back to May
Yeah,
3rd. We have a local fighter, Mo Ali.
Well, and remember, Mo's from Iran. I think originally he's Persian descent.
Right.
He lives here in the UAE, but we have an actual Emirati that's fighting. He's the
Okay.
only professional boxer currently right now with an Emirati nationality, and that's Majid al-Naqbi.
And you guys are giving them a platform like to have these fights, because otherwise they could never fight people like KSI's.
It's funny that you say that. I mean, and we've I don't want to say too much, but I've been promoting fights for 20 years, a little over 20 years. Right. I have never had, and again, I don't blame these guys. It's just they're so new to it. I've never had the kinds of issues and questions I have going into this fight. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. But I don't say to them, man. I mean, I don't sit back and say, "Are you dumb?" I say, you know what? You just don't know.
It's just,
so when a fighter says, "Listen, I want to fight, but I want my money up front." What?
Yeah,
Badu is a 7-figure fighter, and we've never ever received money up front.
Yeah,
and
it's just not how it works.
No, but you know what the thing is? They just don't know.
I think they're thinking of it. I think it's an experience.
Sure,
but
and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, you guys are educating the market at the same time, right? And it's a challenge, but
yeah, we're educating the market, losing our hair, increasing our blood pressure.
But it seems not to be losing much hair.
Yeah, but by the end of the day, and Badu is pretty involved with the day-to-day operation stuff, and we sit back and by the way, FIVE Palm Jumeirah has been a phenomenal partner of ours, and they said, we just want you guys to do the event there, and Loki
awesome.
and Kabir have been phenomenal help to us. But we'll sit back in the hotel, and we'll every night we sit back and we go kind of review the whole plan of everything. And I tell, and I give Badu, the gist of this, and we'll make the decisions together. And, there are things that happen that I've never seen before. And every single time, every time we promote a fight, I learn something new. But this has been the biggest learning process for me ever.
Is this the biggest event you've ever planned, or?
This is the first time. I can honestly say that this is the biggest event I've ever promoted, because I've never dealt with. I have networks come in and cover the fight, but this is the first time we're actually broadcasting the fight, and we're controlling the network. It'll be on Fight TV. It's FITE.TV.
Okay.
It'll be in 175 countries, around the world. So we're controlling the broadcast. We're controlling everything, and we're kind of doing things differently this time.
Wow.
But what makes it difficult isn't really the fight. It's a whole different market. When I told, when we sat down, we were asked to do the fight, I said, yeah, give me a 6-month, lead time. I'll go in, study the market, find out, what works, ticketing platforms, this. I got a call 9 weeks before the fight, and they said, we're ready for you to do the fight May 3rd. And I said, okay, May 3rd, 2020, what? 19. I said, oh my God. And Badu and I looked at each other and we said, man, let's just do it.
I mean, Badu's a last minute guy, right? 3 months to move to Dubai.
God. No, and that's why it works for him. Oh, that's plenty of time.
Like, let's go.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
I was there a month ago. I just went home 1 month to pack my stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that worked well. I mean, the event is happening May 3rd, 2019. Sure. It's super exciting.
Knockout.ae.
Knockout.ae is the website. You can buy the tickets, and
there's VIP packages.
Can people meet you there?
Yeah, everybody actually that has a VIP package. So we're giving it's free dinner for everybody in the arena. We're taking care of dinner for everybody, and it's a great dinner. Yeah, it's a beautiful dinner. They'll have live stations all night long. It's an entertainment event, man. It's going to be the place to be if there's any place to be in Dubai. May 3rd at FIVE Palm Jumeirah. Knockoutnight.ae is where you can get your VIP packages, and we're doing a live weigh-in and open to the public. Anybody that has
at the penthouse.
It's going to start at 3 p.m. Anybody that has a VIP package purchased for the fight will come in, be able to meet Badu, Amir Khan, KSI. It'll be big.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big.
How does Badu Jack deal with his emotions? Because being a boxer, when you get angry, do you punch a wall? Do you punch a...
Yeah, hang on. Badu doesn't have emotions. He has emotion. One emotion. He's like one gear.
No, I mean... It depends. Of course, I get mad. I don't punch. I don't want to hurt my hand. I'm not stupid.
Would you do it with the leg then?
I'll punch somebody in the ring.
Oh, so that when do you get frustrated? Yeah, that's the main thing, right? At the end of the day, it's a business.
Badu he fought Adonis Stevenson last year. It was for the WBC belt. Badu clearly won the fight. Clearly won the fight. In the ring, the judges rendered their decision and they gave it a draw. And everybody, like, we fought in Adonis's backyard in Canada. Everybody was booing. People couldn't believe it. And I thought Badu was going to flip. And he came over to me and he goes, Alhamdulillah for everything, brother. I was more upset than he was.
Yeah.
Right? So that fight, he made, alhamdulillah, a lot of money. But had he won that fight, the next one would have been like retirement kind of money. You know what I mean?
It would have been huge.
And I was flipping. Like, I was just boiling. Like, I was ready to punch the ref, punch the judge, punch this.
So
he came
speaking
over.
about
He's
that,
very controlled when it comes to his emotions.
Speaking about that, I see that happening quite often, like judges and, how do you guys come up with that? Like, is that a big challenge in the boxing industry? Because at the end of the day, you're being judged by X amount of people that are sitting on a bench, right? When it comes to anonymous or certain decisions that the judges take.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me like 3-4 times. I've been robbed getting a draw or whatever. So I mean, you get used to it. But yeah, that's why I said I don't want my son to become a fighter, to go through what I've been through.
But imagine this, though, S1, seriously. So you're talking about 3 people that not just decide, what kind of topping pizza you want. These people decide
your career.
How much money your family is going to make the next fight. So if you have a judge that for whatever reason is biased, for whatever reason has a bad night, let's not even call it bias. Let's not say there's any corruption. Let's not paint that picture on anybody. Let's say they have a bad night. Your career suffers for that. So they get paid, $500, $1,000, whatever it may be, to judge the fight. But you just lost a 7-figure payday. So like the last fight, and then Badu fought, James DeGale the year before that. Again, clear win, draw. And that was for a unified world title. These are retirement kinds of fight purses.
Yeah.
And so how do you change it? I don't know if you can. I've actually said, a couple of times, maybe you get, 5 judges instead of 3, and you take the 3 that are the closest and you throw away the top one and the bottom one. And that's, but I don't know. And what if you have a judge that's, and again, I don't want to paint anything, but a corrupt.
Yeah.
You have an awful judge. Listen, remember there was a judge in Las Vegas that she had this scorecard so off for the Triple
Mayweather
G.
and Canelo.
Canelo was an awful scorecard.
He got fired, I think.
And then Canelo Triple G was an awful scorecard. This is people's careers you're talking about, man. It's their career. It's not just a fight.
It's not a KFC or McDonald's kind of decision,
Exactly. You pay for it for the rest of your career.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of judges, how are your judges? Where are they from?
I'll tell you, he was very strict about this, and he said, that because he's been on the wrong side of those judges, he said, we got to make sure that we have every single one. Actually, we have our head of officials, who's here, Shaz, is doing clinics, believe it or not. He's been for the past couple of Fridays and going into Fridays, he has clinics with the officials, and we're bringing him from all over, so it's not just one, to actually train and make sure these guys, we're bringing in an outside commission to oversee that also, an event supervisor. It's very important.
Okay,
we don't take
so
this
you
thing
take
lightly.
it serious. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's not just so-and-so come over and put a shirt on and judge the fight. No, these are qualified officials, qualified referees. They're going to be overlooking the event.
The boxers in this fight, how much are they making? What, you don't have to tell me exact figures, but
yeah, we're not going to tell you.
You can if you want to. But what is it? Is it bigger than anything that they would make on a regular?
Absolutely. Listen, first of all, we're not paying huge numbers, right? But they're definitely higher.
It is only the beginning, obviously, as well.
Well, not even that. For a fighter to actually fight a 4-round fight in the beginning parts of his career, he doesn't make much money, Right. But we're definitely a little. I'd say that we're a little bit higher than what most people pay.
Okay.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to retire off these fights, but I'm telling you, it's a great platform, even if they were paid nothing, right? And this is not to pat Badou or Badou Jack Promotions on the back. Even if they got nothing, they're a part of the biggest event in Dubai history, right?
And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but Badu Jack is someone in the industry, So
and listen, you're fighting.
You have to use that also.
Big people.
Take that in place.
Yeah, no, and I'm telling you, man, I sit back and I look at some of these demands that come in, and it's just crazy. Like, really?
Like a celebrity wish list? Do you have that, or is it more like other than that payment issue?
I'm gonna say this. And I'm not gonna mention names. This brother signed a contract 2 months ago.
Okay.
Okay. I'll show you the text messages. I'll show you everything. 10 days before the fight, he says, I've decided I want to renegotiate my contract.
Are you serious?
Now, I could easily just take that text messages to our attorneys, our legal team, and bury him.
Yeah, like
Right?
there's nothing he can do.
So my exact opposite answer was, okay, brother, what would you like? I want more money because I heard somebody else is getting more money.
Oh, God.
No, brother, they're not getting more money than you. That guy sold 6 VIP tables. He's got a whole fan base coming, and he's making a little bit of money because he's sold some tables. It's just business sense. No, I want more.
Oh,
So what do you
God.
tell a guy like that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, go walk in traffic.
Yeah. I mean, that's the issue. Like, you have that in every business. I mean, I see it a lot in like influencers because, you know, we do certain social media campaigns, and then I see someone going, oh, but he got a higher figure. Well, yeah, he does also has more
It's all
following.
justifiable.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, you're not just going to pay someone a certain amount.
And mind you, the fighters should be awarded money. They're prize fighters. They're putting their, so, and here's the thing, right? I've touched every part of this sport, so I know where he's coming from. Right. I was a fighter. I was a trainer. I was a gym owner. I was a manager. I was a promoter. I was an agent. You know, I get it. When someone talks to me, I know where you're coming from. So I didn't get mad at him. I said, brother, you already signed the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
but I want to
if
change.
it's something you should have known, like talked about before signing that. All right, we're gonna play a fun game. I just want you guys to I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want both of you to answer at the same time.
Oh God!
It's basically between one or another. Okay.
Yellow.
Are you ready, Badu?
Yep.
All right. Flying or diving?
How fast do we answer? Right now?
3, 2, 1.
Flying.
Badu, you're slow, bro. Come on. Same time.
Okay,
Same
yellow.
time. All right, let's do one more. Pool or beaches?
Pool.
Beach.
I hate the beach.
Because you can't swim.
That's true. Not in water.
Tigers or lions?
Lions.
Ligers.
So far, every question.
That's our relationship too. Yeah.
They're on different pages.
Nando's or Mendy?
Best vacation spot?
Dubai.
Oh,
Hey!
we got one. Okay, this is for you, Amer. What's a phrase that Badu always uses?
Oh my God. Hang on, there's a lot of them.
Oh
there's
my
a lot
God.
of them, but I'll tell you the G-rated one is.
We figure it out.
Figure it out later. Okay, we'll figure it out later.
We'll figure it out later. And Badu, what's one that he uses all the time?
Do I have one?
The Indian.
Badu.
Okay.
Badu?
That's probably it. Badu.
he was looking at you. He was like, I'm not sure if we should mention any of this, but he was like,
Badu, that's mine.
Such as.
Okay, fill in the blank. This for you, Badu. Young and
Wise.
work hard and
Be patient.
fast and
Strong.
fight and
Get paid.
I like that one. First thing to do after a fight. What do you do right after a fight?
Oh my God. That's an easy one.
Eat. Eat a pizza.
Yeah. Right?
Eat some fast food.
And that's because you haven't eaten in like...
No, you've been cutting weight.
He's a monster
Yeah.
after a fight.
What is your ideal weight? What do you try to
Try to what?
be before a fight?
I mean, as slow as possible, as close to the weight. But
He has to be 175 pounds for the fight.
175 pounds. That's awesome. Okay, and here's a tough one. And this is just because I know there's a little history behind this one. Michael Jackson and Bob Marley or Bon Jovi and Metallica?
Wait. Let me clarify this. It was never about Metallica or Michael Jackson.
Yes, it was.
No. You threw the wild card in about that. It's Bob Marley or Bon Jovi.
That's not even a competition.
It is a competition. It
Okay,
very much.
ask the brother right here.
Okay. What do you think?
Who's better, Bob Marley or Bon Jovi?
Well, here's the thing. This is your war, not mine. But I'm gonna answer that question after you two.
Without a doubt, Bon Jovi. Bob Marley didn't last long enough where you could prove he had great music, but you could. No, he wasn't around long enough where he survived the age of time or the test of time. Bon Jovi did.
But he created enough for his time. Enough music.
Bro.
Legendary music while he was alive, don't you think?
I think Bon Jovi during the 80s did that also.
Why is it that you think Bon Jovi is better?
Because he's a racist.
Oh my God! First of all, I'm far from a racist.
He's joking, guys.
Yeah, of course. When during that time, I think I grew up during a lot of Bon Jovi music. I'm just removed from that thing. When we're in the car, Badu listens to people that sound like Cookie Monster. It's not even music.
No, listen, he grew up in.
Are you referring to rap music? Is that?
Yeah, today's rap music I have nothing to do with. I'd rather listen to Bon Jovi than this mumble rap. But he grew up in a very, Caucasian neighborhood. That's why he. At least listen to your own music. Listen to Arab music.
Oh yeah, Arabic music.
See,
do you listen to Arabic
Badu. The issue is your music is awful.
Okay. What do you like better? Who's better?
Honestly, I'm a Bob Marley fan. So
That's like common sense.
All right, let me ask you this. What's the right way to say this? The yolk of the egg is white or the yolk of the egg are white?
SubhanAllah, I was just about to say that.
I would say is.
No, it's yellow.
There you go. Nice one. You got. So what about where did we get Michael Jackson and Metallica?
He threw that in.
Okay.
Oh, you know why? You know why? So that he could bring Michael Jackson, really, who's gonna fight against Michael Jackson? Who's gonna even talk about that?
Yeah.
And so what he does, then he gets like the whitest heart. Metallica. Come on, bro. Metallica.
I didn't mention Metallica. I mentioned Michael Jackson.
And then who's he gonna go ask?
Who else? Okay.
And then he goes around the Mayweather Boxing Club, says, "Who's better, Metallica or Michael Jackson?" Really?
No, I said Bob Marley and Michael Jackson or Metallica. Bon
yeah,
Jovi.
you stack the cards on the other side.
Who's better, Michael Jackson or Metallica?
Michael Jackson.
Who's better, Metallica or Bon Jovi?
That's a tough one.
Oh my God.
Come on, is that really a debate? Is Bon Jovi that high up?
I wouldn't.
What?
I wouldn't know who that is if I saw him.
You were singing his music.
Actually, it's a group. You said
No, but would you put Bon Jovi on the same level as Michael Jackson?
and Bob Marley.
No. I just said no. Once again, he is slurring and he is bringing things in
shut up.
just so he can mess things up. Michael Jackson was never in this thing. He just all of a sudden he went to his black card and got the biggest black name out there so he could put it in there. He's a racist. No, he's not a racist.
We make the best music. I can't be a
You
racist.
do?
I'm half white, half black,
That's true.
just like Michael Jackson.
Just like Michael Jackson. He's a bias, maybe.
No. Okay. Michael Jackson's the top. I'm not gonna take that away from you.
But that's not a racist thing. That's
No, but you brought Michael
facts.
into it. I
Listen,
never brought Michael into
Okay,
it.
who's the better fighters? Better boxers. That's not like facts.
You mean a race?
Yes. For example. Because
I mean,
Well, you have to
Is
also look at how heavily saturated it is with African American fighters. Obviously, they're the best guys.
okay.
No, but
Who's the
there's no debate about
better
that.
rappers?
he goes, okay.
Rappers. Who cares
No,
about
we were
rapping?
talking about music.
Badu, I don't know rappers. Mind you.
I don't
Okay,
know.
this is uncut. We're gonna get uncut. We'll go to God forbid I have to drive to California with this guy for 5 hours in the car. We have to listen to his nasty playlist, right?
He's the only one out of everybody in the car.
Wait,
okay,
what's
like-
on your playlist?
No. This is awful.
We like
And here's the
hip-hop
problem. He knows
from the 90s.
He knows no
90s
words
hip-hop.
out of his music. Here's what he does.
know.
He'll put Tupac on and he'll say 3 words, right? Dear mama, And that's all he'll know. And then he'll turn around.
Sound like that.
And then he'll turn around and hurl like a line of insults.
By the way, guys, Amer and Badu are like this. They go on and on and on, even during the breaks. Like, we had to cut for a second, and they go on and on in between. Well, guys, it was awesome having you here on the show, and I hope you guys come back.
Thank you, brother.
Hopefully,
Thank you for having
yes, you're welcome. This is another. This is your second home, third home, fourth home, whatever you.
Thank you, brother.
I know you got a lot, but definitely come by. It was awesome. It was a pleasure having you guys, and I hopefully people learn something from today and take something back with them. Mainly, I would like to focus on how you give back and how much you do for the community. And I think I respect that a lot about you. And also, of course, the religious side of you and the fact that you are so open about it and you show it. And alhamdulillah, and mashallah, that's amazing. I'm super proud of you. Amazing having you here. Thank you so much, Amer. Thank you, Badu. And we hope to see you soon again.
Uncut with S1.
Yes, sir.
We out.
Thank you.